So I want to go straight into it because when we think about credit card stacking, and I know the conversations that I've had with entrepreneurs in the past, some of them are scared. One, I want you to dive into what exactly is credit card stacking, and then we want to touch into that mindset shift. And immediately when they hear it, they turn it off. Jmapie, what do you do, and what can we learn from you today?
Name is Jmapie Tapa, born and raised in the Bronx. I had basically 6 siblings, single mother. We welfare stack, we had welfare, Section 8 food stamps. Why it's super important for entrepreneurs who have no prior history with LLC is because basically what the banks look at is projected income, stated income, and household income. See, me, I'm not the only one who live in my house, right? So I can count on everybody's salary that's in the house and put it together for the banks. So that's typically what we do. We help our clients and our students basically obsess over other people's problem in order to maximize on that funding, right? We go to Chase, they have 2 0% interest cards, and that's super important that we talk about that, right? When we talk about credit card stacking, we go 0% interest. Why? Because it gives entrepreneurs time to recoup.
Welcome to another episode of Access Granted, where I give you exclusive access to entrepreneurs that are killing it in their industry. I'm excited about this conversation today because I'm getting ready to take him from his mentor and bring him over to me. Jmapie, what's up? Welcome to Access Granted. How you doing?
What's going on, Coach K? I'm feeling good. Happy to be here.
Well, welcome to Access Granted. So I'm just ready to dive in because I know you have a lot of knowledge to share. I know you're doing a lot of amazing things for entrepreneurs with helping them get access to funding for their business. I do the grants. You do the funding and helping them get to the bag. So let's just dive in. Who is Jmapie? What do you do? And what can we learn from you today?
Oh, man. Name is Jmapie Tapa, born and raised in the Bronx. I had basically 6 siblings, single mother. We welfare stack, we had welfare, Section 8 food stamps. Now I'm helping people credit card stack, elevate their life, and obsess over other people's problems so much that they're willing to dig in their pocket to pay us to solve it for them.
Oh, that's a bar.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. So I want to go straight into it because when we think about credit card stacking, and I know the conversations that I've had with entrepreneurs in the past, some of them are scared.
Yeah.
And so one, I want you to dive into what exactly is credit card stacking. And then we want to touch into that mindset shift of people who might be afraid of this conversation and immediately when they hear it, they turn it off. Yeah. So what is credit card stacking and why is it something that I should be using on my entrepreneurial journey?
For sure. So I'll break it down. So basically credit card stacking is where you go to multiple banks to get high limit credit cards, right? Typically we do that especially for new entrepreneurs because here's the thing about new entrepreneurs. They don't have any positive tax returns. They don't have any tax documents. They don't have any documentation for their business. So this is for the new entrepreneurs that's coming in with no prior history with their LLC. Why it's super important for entrepreneurs who have no prior history with LLC is because basically what the banks look at is projected income, stated income, and household income. See, me, I'm not the only one who live in my house, right? So I can count on everybody's salary that's in the house and put it together for the banks. So that's typically what we do. We help our clients and our students basically obsess over other people's problem in order to maximize on that funding, right? Let's just say, for instance, with Chase, right? If we go to Chase, they have 2 0% interest cards, and that's super important that we talk about that, right? When we talk about credit card stacking, we go 0% interest. Why? Because it gives entrepreneurs time to recoup. It gives entrepreneurs a period to run the play. Just in case they make a mistake, here's the beautiful thing. You have 12 months of 0% interest, period, right? So here's also, too, why it's super important, too, is because typically when you're in a 0% interest period, you basically only pay 1% during that 0% interest period. So if I go and get $50,000 from the banks and I leverage it to build up my business or pay for a mentor to educate me or take that next level, I'm only paying $500 a month. That's the only place where it's lucrative for you, right? Because if I go and get an installment loan right now, for $50,000, I'm almost paying $2,000 to $3,000, and that's interest, and the clock starts right then and there.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You said something that I think a lot of people miss. So I don't know if you know my background. I used to work for Wells Fargo. Yep. And I worked in the finance space with Wells Fargo. And there were people that would come inside and I would ask them for their income. And they would just give me, there would be women who would come inside and they would just give me their income. And most of the time they would be declined because they had, high utilization or their income wasn't sufficient. But when it comes to credit cards, people just don't know that you can use household income. And that's just a whole nother hack to help you increase your limits and then help you get access to funding for your business. But a lot of people don't understand the value of being able to leverage households and the credit in the household. So if we're married, you get $100,000, I get $100,000. We have $200,000 in our household to use. But what are some things, or what is the advice that you would have to the person that might be listening to this and they're afraid of credit? And I don't know if you know, but in our community, we have so many people that they don't tap into credit because maybe they've made some past mistakes, and maybe they're just not educated on credit, or they've heard or they've seen the horror stories of people having to file bankruptcy because of these credit cards. What advice would you have to that person that's listening to this right now and they're afraid to go get credit for their business?
My camera right here, right?
Yeah.
So for the average person that's afraid of credit, look at it like this. Elon Musk, he's a billionaire, right? He leveraged credit to purchase X, formerly known as Twitter, right? Damon John, who owned Fubu, he leveraged credit in order to build up his business to become a billionaire. Even the owner of Jersey Mike, he leveraged credit as well. So here's the thing. If you're not leveraging credit, you'll be working for somebody who do for the rest of your life. So I always tell the average entrepreneur that's coming in, you want to leverage in order to get ahead. Because here's the thing. The average salary in America is $48,000. How long would it take you to gain access to $100,000 to save it?
Years.
It would take you years. But here's the thing. There's medical problems can show up. You got bills. Maybe, you got a pet. Now you got to go to the veterinarian. So here's the thing. It's always life is life, right? There's always something happening. So I always tell people, you want to leverage OPM in order to get ahead.
That's good.
Yeah.
It brought me back to a situation where I used to live in Alabama, and when I lived in Alabama, I lived in the country. And I was driving my car one day. I had a brand new car, whatever year it was. That's what type of car I had. And I was driving one day and my air stopped working. I'm like, what is going on? Why is my air not working? Something had crawled in and ate up the wires on my car, and it wasn't covered by my insurance. It was going to cost me $8,000 to get it fixed. The only way I was able to get it fixed was credit. I didn't have it in my savings account. I didn't have another option. It was literally credit. So if I didn't have credit at that time, I would have been that person riding around with a new car with the windows down in the middle of summer in Alabama. Yeah. So I can think of so many stories where credit has been able to save me on my journey. What are some things that you have personally done, or how have you been able to use credit to help you expand your business and help you grow as well?
Sure. So I want to give you an example first of somebody I helped with credit, right? So I had a gentleman who came to me. He owned a restaurant in Brooklyn, New York. And basically his oven broke. He didn't have the capital. So here's the thing. If his oven is broke, his business can't run. So the restaurant couldn't open. So we had to go and get him capital as soon as possible. And what we did was we leveraged 0% interest funding. Because here's the thing. People don't know restaurants have a high overhead. They have to pay everybody. They have to pay food. They have chefs. They have everything. I was able to help him build up and basically go in and change everything out for him. And he was able to keep his business going. And it was within 72 hours.
Oh, that's good.
Because he already had the relationship with the banks. He already had money going in and out. See, the average person, what they typically do is when they walk into the banks, they like, what do I qualify for? My clients and my students, what I'm teaching them is basically to walk in the bank and say, hey, I currently have over $200,000 with American Express. What can you do if I bring my money over? Now you become an asset, right? Because here's the thing about banks. They're leveraging the money for mortgages, auto loans, and they're making a percentage off the back with clients. Mortgages, auto loans, they're laundering the money towards multiple things. So when you come in with money, you're respectable because the banks have tiers.
That's good.
Right? So it's a lot more. It's a value game. It's a value stack game.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. So I'm ready to get into Access. I know they're watching this and they're like, okay, I'm locked in. I'm ready to get the credit.
Let's get it.
What do we do? Where do we start? What's the education piece? And then how do we walk into these banks and get access to $50,000 to $100,000 or more in credit for our business?
Let's do it. So the first thing you want to do is make sure your credit profile is set up, right? You want to go over to pull your credit report. You can go over to My Score IQ, Identity IQ. There's My Free Score Now. You can go over, pull your report, get a full understanding of your report. That's first step, right? Because if you have a full understanding of your report, you're no longer applying in the dark. Now you have a clear vision of what you qualify for and what you can get. Secondly, the number one thing I will focus on after you do that is establish a relationship with the banks, right? And I want to think about it like this, right, Coach K? Imagine I come to you and I ask you to borrow some money. You're looking at me like, hold on, I don't know you, right? But what if I've been lending you money for some time and I come back to you like, hey, can I borrow some money? You're going to say, yeah, because you know I'm good for it. So the first thing we want to do with our clients is go into the banks, open up a bank account and establish a relationship. How do you establish a relationship is make deposits, routine deposits. So what I teach my clients and my students is this. Don't just go into the bank and just make a deposit, right? Like a big deposit, because you're showing the banks that you here to play. You're not here to stay, right? What we do is we make routine deposits because it tricks the algorithm, right? That's what we want to do, routine deposits. So once we establish that, the second thing you want to do now is reach out to a relationship manager. Why we want to go to relationship managers? If we go to a relationship manager, here's the thing. A relationship manager is the second underwriting before the underwriters, right? And then also, too, what happens is the masses, what they do is they go on the line and they apply and they cross their fingers to see what they got approved for. Now you get a generic approval of $5,000 to $15,000. But what we do is basically we go to a relationship manager and we ask for a DocuSign. You should know, you know all about this working at Wells Fargo, right? We ask for a DocuSign. And when we ask for this DocuSign, what we're saying is we're requesting the amount of money we want. So now you can go to a relationship manager and request the amount of money you want. For the average person, right, what they do is they go in everybody else's backyard looking for funding, Coach K. What we teach our students and our clients is you can go to a website called bankbranchlocator.com. And if you go to bankbranchlocator.com, in the top right-hand corner, you can put your zip code in, and you'll see every single bank in your backyard. You want to get up and walk to those specific banks. And when you get up and walk to those specific banks, ask for a relationship manager. Build a relationship with them. Ask them what's trending right now in the bank. Ask them, if I bring over this amount of money, what promotions do you currently have? Because a lot of these banks will give you a promotion if you bring over $10,000 to $15,000. So now we establish a relationship with them. Now we ask for the DocuSign. Let's say I always suggest for my clients to go to the first place I suggest them to go to is like a U.S. bank or a Marist Bank. Why? Because it's an Elon Financial Bank. What they typically do is they give you 18 months, 0% interest funding. If they give you 18 months, how long would it take for you to run a play? It wouldn't take you that long, and now you have 18 months. And then they specialize in balance transfers. So let's just say you're holding debt somewhere else. You can balance transfer that money for 0% interest funding and go pay that debt. And a balance transfer essentially is just taking that money off that card is transferred to your checking account to pay any bill you need to.
Because you just gave out some game.
I'm going to get, we just started.
You teach this. You have a class. So if you're watching this right now, I need you to pause for just a moment. I need you to click the link in the bio or in the caption and go lock in and secure your spot. You're having a class where you're going to break all of this down. You're going to show us what to do.
Absolutely.
I want to pause for just a second. I want you to tell us about this because you just dropped some gems. So I got to make sure that they're in this class, in this challenge, so you can really show them how to get this bag.
Yep, absolutely. So we're running a 5-day mentorship where we'll be teaching you from throughout the 5 days how to build and scale a 6-figure business running credit repair and funding. And here's the thing. It's not just for the average person who wants to start a credit repair and funding business. It's for tax professionals, right? It's for real estate professionals because here's the thing. Typically, tax professionals, what they do is from January to April, they make money. What about the rest? How are we value stacking selling our clients? Or we're real estate professionals. How are we getting our clients approved to get into these houses? So it works for any business model because 86% of businesses go out of business due to lack of capital.
That's good. I want to go back just a little bit.
Let's go back.
Because we talked about making sure your profile is in order. And there might be somebody watching this right now and their credit score is a 4 or 5 or a 6, or even if they have a 700 credit score, their profile might not be where it needs to be.
Yep.
So can we walk through that? Like, what is a credit profile? Yeah. How should it look? How do we make sure that when we are walking in these banks and we're building the relationships that we're ready to get access to this capital?
Perfect. So typically with a credit profile, basically once you pull it, the first thing you're going to see on your credit profile is your first name, last name. Typically, a lot of people, they don't understand that 86% of credit reports are inaccurate. So your name may be wrong. Maybe you have a middle name in between bureaus, right? We want to make sure your credit profile, your credit report is clean. So you can go to the bureaus, and what you can say to the bureaus is, hey, that is not my correct name. It's my first and my last name. Then we can look at the addresses. If you have multiple addresses, we want to make sure it's even with one address, because when you start to apply to these banks, you don't want it to go into manual underwriting. It'll typically go into manual underwriting if they can't connect your address, your social security, these things, right? So that's the second thing. And it's just making sure, for me, I typically don't put an employer there, right? Because I put my company as my employer because it's just better for the client. Now, once we have that all set, we want to make sure we have no derogatories, no delinquencies, right? Because look at it like this, right, with the banks. If we family, right, and I give you $20 and you don't pay me, now I'm going to tell the rest of the family members. Now you can't go see your family, right? And that's typically what the banks do. So we want to make sure you have no derogatories, no delinquencies. Then make sure you have a 700-plus credit score. And then the most important thing, guys, and I want to look at the camera, the most important thing you want to do is make sure you have comparable credit. Because if you only have $200 credit cards, how you expect to go over to the business and get $50,000, $60,000 credit cards? So you want to make sure you have the comparable. What we typically look for with a client is making sure they have $5,000 to $20,000 limits on their credit cards. Because what it does is it shows the banks you're not new to this, you're true to this, and you know how to leverage that. So that's pretty much it.
And that's fire. You are on fire. I love it. I love it. So now I have, well, let me ask this. Is there a limit on the amount of credit that I can get?
So I want to break it down. There's over 400 0% interest banks. There's not a limit. But here's the thing. There's a time frame, right? Mm-hmm. Because we apply, see the pros, what we do is we apply in sequences. Why do we apply in sequences? Let me break that down, right? So when we apply horizontally, meaning we'll go to a bank that pulls from Experian, we'll go to a bank that pulls from Equifax, then we'll go to a bank that pulls from TransUnion. Why? Because Experian don't know what TransUnion is doing. TransUnion don't know what Equifax is doing. Equifax don't know what Experian is doing, right? So now it's one inquiry at each bureau. One inquiry across the board now, and we went to 3 different banks. Let's just say, for instance, I go to Chase, I get $50K, right, which is pulling from Experian. Then I go to U.S. Bank, which pulls from TransUnion, and I get $25K. Then I go to Truist, that pulls from Equifax, and I get another $25K. I made $100,000 with one inquiry.
That's good.
This is how the pros apply, right? And then now you can go 3 times, because typically with the banks they don't like to see too many inquiries, but we can go to 3. So now 1, that's 3 banks. 2, that's 3 banks. 3, that's 3 banks. So that's 9 banks. Already you almost at $250K. And that's not even including, here's the thing, that's not even including the other 400 banks we have that's 0% interest funding. So now every 3 to 6 months we can come back and visit and say, hey, well, I have the comparables. And here's the thing that the gurus don't teach people. I want to give some game. I want to drop it exclusively on here, right? This is access, right? And you guys got access to me. So here's the thing, the beautiful thing about the banks, right? If you already have a high limit card, you can ask for your statements and then bring it over to the bank and say, hey, these are my current statements. I need a limit that looks like this. A lot of banks would take the statements and then give you comparables. A lot of people don't know that.
Wow.
This is what we're teaching our clients, how to walk into the banks and you're in power. Why? Because you're leveraging your money.
Wow, this is good. So I do have a question, right?
Yeah.
So there are so many people that are teaching this information. And what I love, let me just say this real quick. Let me give you your flowers. Because the way you are breaking this down and you're teaching it, anyone can understand it. And it's almost like you're crazy if you don't tap into this challenge and come lock in on this information.
Yeah, I'm one-on-ones when it comes to this.
I can tell. And you're very passionate about it. And I love that. So kudos to you. I love that. But there are so many people that are teaching this information.
Yeah.
Why MAP? Why Jmapie? Why should they, if they're watching this right now, why should they tap into you to come learn this information and this strategy? And why should they apply it to their entrepreneur journey?
Because today? I came from humble beginnings. I'm just like them, right? I was a kid who grew up in the inner city neighborhoods. I'm from the Bronx, New York. Had a single mother, right? I've been an entrepreneur since I was 14. I used to pack bags, right? From packing bags, I used to work in restaurants. From restaurants, I worked in sales. I was a sales leader. I understand what the day-to-day person is going through more than anyone. I have that corporate structure. I know that if you obsess over other people's problems, they're going to dig in their pockets to pay you to solve it for them. See, the average person, what they're thinking about when they come into a sale, they're talking about what they do. I want to know more about the client. How can I tailor-make a solution for them? So it's about the client. It's not about me. I can go and tell my story all day, but what's your story?
That's good. That's good. This might be one of my favorite episodes. This might be one. I've had a couple of credit people on, but this might be my favorite. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
So listen. So with this 5-day challenge, what can we expect? What are we walking away with? Like, give me the game. Like, because I'm locked in. I'm gonna go lock my spot in.
Come lock in. We'd love to have you come up too.
Let's do it.
Put on the spot right here. We'd love to have you come up, Coach.
All you got to do is give me a date and time. I'm there.
I'm telling you. All right.
Yep.
All right. We're gonna talk after this.
Entrepreneurs should leverage. Grant funding is an amazing strategy. but grant funding isn't enough.
Yeah.
So, you know, my audience is all about grants and they want access to this funding. You have to be able to have some business funding and capital in your back pocket as well.
Yep.
So, you know, we're tapped in. We're coming.
For sure.
Yeah, so for sure.
All right. So let me break it down, right? Day one, we'll be going over how to properly set up a funding profile. Your foundation. Your credit is your foundation, guys. Without credit, here's the thing. You can't have the house you want. You can't drive the car you want. And if you're a fella, you can't even have the woman you want, right? Because women look for financial stability, right?
True.
So that matters, right? That's day one. Day two is my favorite day. I'm a little biased, right? Because what we're doing is live funding. So we would typically charge them like 10%, but we're funding for free that day. And we're teaching them how to gain access to $100,000 within 90 days. Day three, we're going to teach you how to build a full profile and walk your client through basically making over 4 to 5 figures off your client, right? Because what we do is we teach top-down selling. Once we finish credit repair, we can go into selling them an age business. Because typically when you go into the banks with an age business, now you open up multiple funding. If you got a business that's more than 2 years, now you can go in for a line of credit. Now you can go in for a term loan. So many things that you can go for now. And it shows the banks, again, you're not new to this, you're true to this, right? Day four, we're pretty much going to break down basically how Shelf Corp strategies work, right? So how to sell a Shelf Corp to a client, when a client needs it and when they don't need it. And then day five is another special day where we'll pretty much be breaking down basically how to prospect, how to partner with people, and how to grow. Because the average person, what they do is they're looking for client. Number one thing we want to do is if a client open their pockets, dig in their pockets for us the first time, we want to continue to sell to that client and add value to them. We just walk away after we sell that client the first time. And then we want to be able to leverage like heavy hitters like you that have communities where we can come into your community and help your students because your student success is attached to yours.
That's right.
Right? So we work, one thing I specialize in, how I never run out of clients, is I basically fund some of the biggest communities in the space. People don't know it. Salon suite communities, the biggest salon suite, right? The biggest, I would say, real estate community. I fund a lot of communities. And again, the student success is attached to the coach's success.
That's good.
So last year, we were accountable for over 30 houses being built. But here's the beautiful thing. It's not just about that. These people are able to change their family life now. So it's more so about that. So that's what the 5 days is. But we're going to be bringing in 7-figure entrepreneurs, 8-figure entrepreneurs, and we're also going to bring in a 9-figure entrepreneur, which I'm super excited about.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You touched on something in the 5-day challenge that I would like to speak on here. You can come in and you can learn this information and you can make it a whole business.
Make it a whole business.
And you're showing people how to, no matter where you are in your journey, you might be already be an existing entrepreneur, but how to add this in as an additional stream of revenue.
Yep.
Who is that for? Like,
That's-
is that for any, you
I'm
got
gonna
me?
break it down,
All
right?
right.
So it's for that. It's for, again, tax professionals, right? That's only making money from January to April. It's for the average 9-to-5er who's sick and tired of being sick and tired. Just that day-to-day, that rat race, when you feel like you're number one at work, but you last place at home. See, here's the thing, Coach. When I used to come home and tell my woman, hey, look, babe, I'm number one in the nation in sales. But one day she stopped and she looked at me and she said, you last place at home. And I'm like, man, how am I last place at home? Because I'm not there. I'm obsessing over the company. But what about me? And then I listened to Jim Rohn. He said something super important to me. He said, work on yourself harder than you work at work. See, I was giving work everything. So here's the thing. Now I didn't know my kids. My son was more obsessed with what his mother was doing than what I was doing, right? Because I was so stuck at work. Now I'm in a barbershop with 2 phones, my work phone and my regular phone, and I'm prioritizing my work phone over my personal phone and my family. So that's for that person that's sick and tired of being sick and tired. We want to be able to help you change your life because in a year I was able to change my life. I made $1.4 million my first year.
Let's go.
Year one. Why? Because I obsessed over other people's problems and I had the corporate structure already. I've been working with CRM systems. I've been working with people. I've been tailor-making solutions for them. Why I couldn't do it for myself. A lot of people don't know they're an entrepreneur right now working in corporate America. You're an entrepreneur because here's the thing. If you in sales, you work for a commission. If you in restaurants, you work for a tip. If you were a kid like me who was packing bags, guess what? You're working for a tip. You're an entrepreneur already. Why not bet on yourself?
Oh, that's good. So how do I make money with this?
So here's what we do. Number one thing we want to do is be able to promote online, right? Because here's the thing. You want to make your page like a home, right? Because when people come, they got to be able to trust that you're going to be able to get them to the goal line. Once you have your content up, the second thing you want to do is pretty much obsess over their problems, right? Look at their credit profile. Now, here's a beautiful thing that you can do is build a relationship with other relationship managers. Can I give a little play to how to get relationship managers?
Absolutely.
The number one place that you can go to get relationship managers is LinkedIn. So what we do is we pretty much add them as a friend, and then we send them a message saying, hello, how you doing? I would love to work with you. I help entrepreneurs gain access to capital. Now your clients feel like it's a VIP experience. They don't have to walk into the bank. Now you're introducing them via email and giving the data points to them. So now I want y'all to understand, now this is how you skip the line, right? This is how you skip the line. So now you go to LinkedIn, and this is for the average person too. Let's say if you have a time crunch, what you can do is you can download LinkedIn Premium. It's $69.99 a month. And now you no longer have to add the relationship manager, wait for them to approve you to send them a message. Now you can directly send them a message before you're friends with them. So now when they say, hey, you know what? I actually need clients. What they call us is COIs. So now we're COIs, firsthand. I'm trying over here like I'm teaching you, right?
No, I want you to teach. Yep.
What they call us is COIs, right? And they always looking for COIs. They're always looking for COIs, especially a clean COI who has structure, who's bringing over clients that pretty much are ready. And then that's the beautiful thing too. We help a lot of like relationship managers. Here's the thing. One of my relationship managers was able to go to President's Cabinet because of me. Now I get gifts from Chase, like, the little baskets and all that fruit baskets and everything. I get them all the time because I was able to obsess over his problems. What do you need from me? How are the banks pivoting? Now I have a leg up before any competition. See, I knew before everybody that Chase in July of last year, they were pivoting towards you had to make $1 million. You had to make projected $1 million in order to work with a relationship manager. I knew it before everybody. Why? Because I'm constantly in the relationship manager's ears. I'm having weekly meetings with them. I'm talking to them. So once you have that set up, now it's just introducing your client and getting that approval and them celebrating and them feeling good. Like, hey, you know what? I never thought I would be able to save $50,000. Now I have $50,000 at 0% interest. And then we can go to multiple banks and do it over and over again.
That's so good. You giving that a lot of game.
Right?
If you teaching this much on the podcast, I know this challenge is going to be crazy. It's going to be life changing. I love challenges because they're so packed with information and packed with value. And it literally like 5 days of value and information can literally change your life. You said something else that I often teach is that relationship. Like in LinkedIn, we have somebody inside of our community. She received a $35,000 grant just from the relationship she built and nurtured on LinkedIn. And so people are sleeping on LinkedIn and the access you'll be able to leverage with building relationships and making connections with people who have what you need to help your business and your brand grow. So I love that you touched on that because I preach it all the time. Like LinkedIn is where the money is. There's so many opportunities out there available. So if we're talking about, all of this money and capital, what are some things that we can do with this money, or what's some success stories that you have had with your students on how they've been able to use this money in their business?
So first and foremost, I have students come to me not making no money to make it $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month. We were able to take one of our students on a podcast run with us because she had an amazing month. Now she was exposed to something that she can't unsee, right? Because she was around a lot of high-level people. Now, I can go into story after story after story, right, about how many clients we help, but I'll give you a couple, right? One client we were able to help. This client came to me. His name was Daniel. He came to me. He had no credit cards, no nothing. I pretty much built his profile from the beginning. What we did was, for the average person who don't have any profile, because we're talking a lot about business funding, these high limits, but a lot of people don't know where to start. We can go to google.com, and what we can type in is credit card pre-approval. So many banks will come up. So we want to leverage pre-approvals first because you're no longer applying like the masses, just getting denied, right? Now we leverage pre-approval. See what we pre-qualify for. Here's some banks that you can go to, right? You can go to Chase for a credit card pre-approval, Discover for a credit card pre-approval. I like credit unions. They typically give the most money. So you can go to a Christian Community Credit Union. You can go to a Navy Federal. You can go to a Wings Federal Credit Union. Now we were able to basically build up his profile from pre-approvals, right? Once we were able to build up his profile, here's the thing. Typically, when you apply for multiple credit cards, here's what happened. Your credit age goes down, which is a percentage of your credit report. So now what we did, we started to leverage rent reporters, Boom Pay, right? Where you can backdate your rent for 5 years. Now we're adding back on age to his report. As we add on age to his report, here's the thing. He was able to get approved for over $200,000. Now he's in the process of building his house in Dallas. And this is multiple stories that I could tell you about. And we're pretty much like that liaison, walking them through the whole full funding process where we're hand-holding them. And it's a VIP done for you service because we have the relationships. You're coming to us. We set up the introduction emails. It just feels special. It's almost like having a shopper that go and shop for you and bring you your clothes. It's like you at home, like, look, like, yo, I'm that guy. You know what I'm saying? Because you understand that the job is being done even though you're not working.
That's really good. And I always tell people, like, mentor definitely means faster. And having somebody that already has the blueprint, instead of trying to figure it out yourself, why not tap into somebody that knows the bank, knows exactly who they're going to pull from, already has the relationship manager, and all you have to do is walk in and say, hey, I'm ready to take action. Simple. So why would I not tap into this information?
Here's the thing, Coach K, too. I want to tell people, right, because a lot of people are like, they see so many mentors in the space. It's like, who do I trust? But here's the thing about mentors, right? Despite maybe somebody's not going to give you the best experience, you're going to learn something in that process. I paid a lot of people. I've spent over $250,000 on mentorship, and some of them weren't good. Some of them were amazing, right? But I'm here to tell you this, right? You learn something. And here's the thing about mentorship. You get something called borrowed confidence. You get to borrow their confidence because they have years and years of experience. But also, too, one thing that's special about mentorship, right? I always think about it like, you ever been to Six Flags?
I have.
So Six Flags, you know, you there on a hot day. You got the free refill drink. You know, the big drink. You online, right? Your refill drink run out. Now you like, damn, it's hot out here, but I got to sit on this line. This line is around the corner, right? But what mentorship is, you get the fast pass. So now you get to skip the line and walk past everybody on the line and say, you know what? I'm getting on this ride. Y'all can stay online, but I'm getting on this ride before everybody.
Oh, that's
so
good.
It gets you to your destination quicker. In order to get to your destination quicker, you have to run with individuals that's faster than you.
That's good. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Listen, this is fire.
Yeah.
So you recently just made over $1 million in your business, and congratulations on that. But when we have people on the episode, I always like to ask them a question about different challenges that they faced with getting to the journey of making $1 million. Making $1 million is exciting, but I know there was probably some struggles, some hardships, some losses that you took on the journey. So what's some things, some challenges that you faced with building $1 million brand?
I got sued.
What?
I got sued.
Oh, tell me more.
I'm going to tell you about it. And it's crazy, but it was the best experience of my life. I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to tell you the story. It's going to be funny, too. But, man, I cold called this guy one day. I paid for a lead list through these guys on LinkedIn. They used to sell lead lists. And I called this guy like, hey, man, I see you're interested in funding. I won't be more than happy to help you. The guy was like, yeah, sure. Where's your business located? I gave him the business, gave him all my information. Then he called me back and was like, hey, your team keep calling me. I'm like, hold on, my team is not calling you. I'm the one who called you. He's like, well, whose number is this? I'm like, I don't know who number is that. Next thing you know, I get an email saying, hey, if you don't pay me, I'm going to use the TCPA Act law on you.
Ooh.
So I'm like, whoa, hold on. So I thought it was a joke until one day I got a letter in the mail from my registered agent with the lawsuit saying I have to go to Texas to court. So now I'm starting to do a little research about this individual, and he was a serial litigator, basically somebody who sues people, basically opts into your phone and will sue you because you're calling his number because it's on a DNC list.
Oh, wow.
So now I call all these lawyers throughout the United States. This month, I'm on a roll, too. First month, I think January made $50K, February made $60K, March made $10K because I'm so focused on this now, right? So I'm like, man, if I would have went back to corporate America, this wouldn't have happened to me. I've cold called. I've been in B2B sales for so long. I've been cold calling for years, and nobody ever sued me. But now that I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm a new entrepreneur too, I'm getting sued, right? So now I find the right lawyer, and I had to settle. I settled, but it was the best settlement ever because it taught me something, right? It taught me structure. It taught me how to pretty much go in and say, you know what, that's not a good client. Or a client that's opting into your funnel, just making sure you handle your business the right way and keep it clean. Me, I was just this gun-shy kid that was like, yo, all right, cool. I need to get to it. I need to make it. I'm cold calling. I'm buying lead lists from people. I didn't know that I can basically create a lead magnet and they'll opt into my funnel. I don't need to call a list. I didn't know I could make a free lead magnet. I didn't know about posting as much content and people coming into me now and they're buying into my brand and who I am. So that was something that happened to me, and I almost went back to corporate America.
Really?
Almost.
Yeah, I think I've definitely had a couple of moments where I was like, you know what? I'll just go clock in.
Yeah. Because entrepreneurship is hard. It's a faith-based sport. I tell people because you're basically you're basically committing to something you can't see.
Yeah.
It's faith-based, right? And here's the thing. A lot of people walk by sight. That's why they're afraid of mentorship. But if you walk by faith, and here's the thing about entrepreneurship too, right? It forces you to face your weaknesses. Mm-hmm. You're placing people around you to suppress your weaknesses. This is the only sport where it forces you to face your weaknesses. People in corporate America, they don't know because they're doing the same thing over and over and over that they don't know what their weaknesses are because it's a system. But here's the thing I tell people about corporate America. If you die tomorrow, they're going to put somebody right in your place. Soon as I quit, guess what? It was another senior manager running the whole Massachusetts, right? Mm-hmm. And they forgot all about me, which I was one of the number one guys in the nation. But they quickly forgot about me. Why? Because I didn't comply. Mm-hmm. I betted on myself. See, the average person is afraid of betting on themselves. But I'm here to tell you the risk of not really locking in is you be clocking in.
Clocking in.
Yeah.
You said something in your story about, and that set with me about how hungry you were to make it happen. There are so many people who they go into the space of being an entrepreneur and they just think it's supposed to flow. Like you actually grind. You were cold calling. You were posting the content, and unfortunately you got sued behind it. But there are very few people who will actually do the work. I think I seen something with Grant Cardone where he was like, he would get on the calls or, and he would, if the sales wasn't coming in, he was trying to figure out what to do to make it happen. So I think there's some entrepreneurs that miss that piece. They see the 7-figure brand and forget that we started in a space where we're like, give me the call sheet, give me the lead list, I'll make the calls. And now it's a little easier because we have lead magnets and things that attract the clients in. But to be able to have that drive, to have that hunger and that desire in you to make the sale and actually get on the call is next level.
And it's so much more satisfying when you close it. It's like when you get off that call, so is that you click off, it's like, look at the man. I'm done. Woo! You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those, right? And it's more of, it teaches you how to learn people too, and how to maneuver with people. Because here's the thing, a lot of people are afraid of that people-to-people contact, but people buy from people. They will buy from you before they buy from an AI bot or anything like that. They buy into you. They buy into your brand. They buy into the way you talk, the way you walk, everything. So it's super important.
So I want to go back to this challenge because I'm super excited about it and all the lives that you're about to change. I know you said on one of the days you're going to do live funding.
Live funding.
What does that look like?
So what we do is, again, we leverage pre-approval tools.
Okay.
And then we show people what they pre-qualify for because a lot of people don't know what they pre-qualify for.
Wow.
So now you're not even getting inquiries on a call. We're going to leverage a pre-approval tool, show you what you pre-qualify for. So now we can sit there and say, hey, you know what? Cynthia, you thought you were a 5K girl. You're a 50K girl. You're a 60K girl. You're a 100K girl.
So you're going to have people live on the call, apply, and some of them could potentially walk away with pre-approvals of $50,000, $60,000.
Yep.
You did this before and you got millions funded in the room, right?
Yeah. I believe it was around, we did 3.4 million in the room.
In a day?
In a day. It was less than an hour. Yeah, 3.4 million, less than an hour. And it gave people hope. A lot of people don't know what they pre-qualify for.
What's the link?
Listen, you can go to credtocapital.com and make sure you opt in. We got you, Coach.
I'm there.
We got you, Coach.
I'm there. I need live funding on the spot. This is amazing.
Yeah.
So as we think about, credit and all of the things that we are doing with credit in the space of being in credit and leveraging 0% for 12-month cards, I always push credit because it's something that I wish I had when I started my business. And when working for Wells Fargo, I actually applied for a credit card and they declined me.
And you worked there.
And I worked there. I'm like, I work here. Y'all can just take the money. I applied for a credit card and a loan at the same time and they declined me. And I'm like, y'all can just take the money out of my paycheck. But if I would have had an extra $50,000 or $60,000 or even $100,000, even $10,000, honestly, I would have been able to do so much more with my child care center. And I was taking my paycheck, funding my business, and I actually almost went in foreclosure on my personal home because I didn't have access to capital for my business. And I think so many people connect with that story. Like they have the idea to start the business, but they don't have the money to make it happen. Or maybe they're an existing entrepreneur and they feel stuck or feel stagnant because they don't have access to this credit. what advice do you have to that person that's just sitting there right now? They're sitting at home stuck right now. They got the idea, they got the vision, but they don't have the capital.
So I would tell that person, right, that if you currently have a structured credit profile, you're walking around with almost $200,000 that you're unclaimed. That we're starting, especially us as African Americans, we're starting from behind. We want to educate our community and show them what's possible, and that you're walking around with so much leverage, and you're not leveraging it to help you and change your life. See, one thing I tell my students is this, like, you have an obligation. See, you can cure cancer in somebody's business or in their life and help them. What are you doing if you're not obsessing over other people's problems?
That's good.
See, somebody came to me and said, yo, all right, cool, you made 1.4. What are you going to make next year? And I said, well, I'm expecting to obsess over double the people that I've helped last year. I'm expecting to obsess over double the people's life and what they got going on. So obviously, I'm going to double my income by default.
Yeah. I love that. Not focused on that 1.4 million that you made, but just doubling your impact. We got to get you some grant money. Yeah, because I mean that's really what grant money is. It's really focused on the impact and the people that you're helping. And you're not leading with I'm taking a percentage of people's money and I'm just going the next way. You're like, how many people, how many lives how can I cure the disease that they have in their business of not getting access to this money, and how can I solve a problem that they have? We got to get you some grants as well.
6% of businesses go out of business due to lack of capital.
That's it.
Literally. So I was an account manager in corporate America, and we basically managed books of business where I pretty much started with small businesses, then I worked with medium-sized businesses. And a lot of businesses, what they would do is come back to me and say, hey, I have to close my account. And I'm like, why? We have to downcut, budget, these things. So now I'm like, man, so many clients were coming to me and working in corporate America. When you have a book of business, that's your behind if you lose that account. So now I'm obsessing over their problems, figuring out solutions to help them when I was in corporate America. So I understood that there was a need for it. So when I quit corporate America, I didn't even look back.
Wow.
I didn't have to look back. And one thing I always say is like, poverty ran in my family until it ran into me.
That's good. Right.
So I'm telling people that you're able to change your bloodline if you obsess over other people's problems. See, a lot of people are broke because they're obsessing over only their problems. So it's like you're selfish. We have to be selfless in order to help people and really give to them and change their life. Now I have so many people that invite me to their weddings. I'm getting gifts from banks. I'm helping people, right, get married. I'm helping people build financial stability and change their bloodline.
That's good.
So it's bigger than the 10%. It's bigger than that. And that's what makes me different than the guys in the space, because I've been there. I've been broke. I had the money. I almost went back broke, right? So I want to show people how to really, really, really change their life and build a true system. But it truly starts with here and here, right? Like, do you really care about the people? Or are you doing it just for the money? Because if you're doing it just for the money, it's a get rich quick scheme. You know what I'm saying? You're just trying to get money right now. We're teaching people not how to run plays, but how to run a true business with structure and systems.
Real quick before I let you go, I know we talk a lot about, catering to this on the business side, having the structure of the business, but there's a lot of opportunity out there for personal credit as well. Should we focus more on business? Should we focus on personal? Should we focus on both? Where do we go? Like, I know there's some people that kind of took, like, I'm not an entrepreneur, but I still want access to this. Should I even set up an LLC? What do we do? Where do we go?
All right. I always suggest everybody should have a business, right? And you can use your first name. Use your first name and create an LLC for your first name, right? Because a business, what it does is it protects you. It's its own entity. It protects you from being sued. It protects you from so many things, right? And for the average person who's like, hey, should I go business? Should I go personal? First thing, is your personal profile properly structured? If so, let's go business. Why we're going to go business is because if we go and get business credit cards, it's not going to reflect on our credit report as usage. 30% of our credit report is usage. So it don't reflect. But for the person who don't have the proper profile structure or don't have any cards, we're going to go personal. We're going to leverage the pre-approval tools that we gave earlier.
That's good. So, Map, as we're talking about this, I wanna leave off with just some success stories that you've had, some students that you supported, and some accomplishments that you brag. I love bragging on my students.
I love
like,
my students. Yeah.
I'll get online, I'll go do a podcast, and I'll be like, Mary got 600,000, and Emma got 1 million, and I love bragging on my students. It's not about me, right? It's about the impact that I make. So before we leave, I really just want to highlight some people that you've been able to help and support, and some lives that you changed with this valuable information.
So I got a student. His name is Dung Pham. He's Asian, but he grew up in the hood in Texas, right? Like grew up with Bun B, all of these guys. We were able. I first met him by funding him. From there, he basically opted into our program and became a student of ours. And now he's sitting there making $20 to $30K a month right now.
Wow.
Right? And by obsessing on other people's problems, he's always going to come back to that. Then I have a student. Her name is Benny. She owned actually real businesses. She has laundromats. She helped people acquire real cash flowing businesses. Laundromats. She has rentals. She has car rentals, all kinds of things, right? But she came to us at $0. She didn't understand how to dispute credit repair. She didn't understand the power of 0% because she leveraged so much of her assets going into these cars, going into her business, and now she's over there making damn near this month she's projected to make $50K. She's projected to make $50K.
Benny.
And we were able to take her with us, right, on our podcast run, where she was able to meet a lot of top guys that's in the space and that she only seen on TV. She only seen them on YouTube. Now she's exposed to it, and now her life is forever changed.
Proximity is everything.
Proximity is everything. I always say if you're hanging out with 6 millionaires, you'll be the 7th. But if you hang out with 7 broke people, you'll be the 8th.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited about this. I'm excited about this upcoming challenge that you have. Is there any last piece of information or last piece of advice that you want to drop, or anything that you think I didn't touch on that you want to give the audience before you go?
I just want to say your frequency is what you frequently see. You want to be able to get into the room with other like-minded individuals, because some of us right now, we're the black sheep of our family, not understanding that we could be the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? We're the ones that our family's waiting on to change the trajectory. So if anybody who's on the fence, I'm here to tell you, this 5-day mentorship is free. Come in, learn the information, implement it, run it, educate your family, bring your family on too to watch it, right? Because we want to change bloodlines. It's not just about today, it's about tomorrow. So that's what I'm giving for the next person that's listening in.
All right. Before we go, tell them how they can tap into you, how they can join this 5-day challenge, and what's next. So
you can tap in with me on Instagram or social media platforms at Jmapie Tapa, Jmapie Tapa. And if you want to opt into the 5-day challenge, make sure you click the link below. And if not, you can go to credtocapital.com, CRED, the number 2, capital, CAPT, whatever. Damn. Yeah. credtocapital.com.
All right, you guys, this has been another amazing episode of Access Granted. What I want you to do right now is I want you to click the link, lock your seat in, because I'm going to be in the room and I want to see you there. Also, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share this with 3 people that you love. Until next time, I'm Coach K.